And with Metamorphosis, we really wanted to create a film that was a cinematic experience. We wanted the images to really speak to the beauty that we were witnessing, and we wanted to film it in such a way that it was really, we used a lot of drone shots to get a bird's eye view, and we used macro shots to get really in close, and we did a lot of time lapse, and the soundscape as well contributes to that experience. And Velcrow was the sound designer, and it was really important to us to combine these elements and share the message of the film in this way. One of the things we decided in terms of our approach was to not have talking heads in the film, for example. We decided that we would rather see images of what we were talking about rather than to look at a person talking. So that's something that we made a conscious decision about early on. And also, we really wanted to highlight the work of artists that deal with ecological themes. And that lent itself to really taking on a more artistic approach with the presentation of the film.
Yeah, I think we wanted to make a poem for the planet. We wanted to do something that was unlike other climate change films that were out there because we wanted to add to the conversation. There's lots of different ways of exploring this. And we also wanted to do something that would be something that people would actually want to see. And, during this time, this pandemic, one of the things that we've noticed is that it's hard for people to engage with the climate crisis because we're in the midst of this other emergency. But, there's this image I've seen of a human and this little fish about to eat the human, and that's the pandemic, the coronavirus, and then about to eat that littler fish is a bigger fish, and that's the economic crisis, and then an even bigger fish, and that's the climate crisis, about to eat them all. And so, the climate crisis isn't going away, and it's just as pressing as ever. But it's hard because we're so struck by this pandemic. So I think that Metamorphosis is actually a great film for this time because it is accessible, it's inspiring, it's beautiful, and we need to keep in touch with beauty right now.
Yeah, and it has stories in the film that can really spark the imagination, and I think that's something that we all really need right now. In this time, and also exploring ways that we can coexist with the planet in ways that that are healthy for us and healthy for the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thinking back on the making of the film, I think one of the most compelling moments was when we went into the monarch butterfly sanctuary in El Rosario. So beautiful and so stunning and so amazing to see all these butterflies, literally millions of them. And I remember there was one moment that I'll never forget was when Nova had our son, who was probably about a year old or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he was sound asleep in her arms, and surrounded, and all these butterflies were landing on Nova, and she was covered in butterflies, and then one landed on his nose, and he opened his eyes, and he just looked at this butterfly right on his nose, and he said one of his first words, which was Baba, which meant butterfly, and just the look on both of their faces of wonder.